March, we celebrate women, but the guest I have today, we have to celebrate her all the time because she's dynamic. Once again, another dynamic woman that I bring to the show because she is everything. When they say she's high powered, she is high powered. And I'm so excited to talk about her new book, or the book. I say new because we keep on getting volumes of it, because when I read the different stories, these are some of my friends. I lived this because I'm also a woman behind the mic as well. My guest today is, when I say she's everything, she's an author, she's a radio host, she's a doctor. She knows health and wellness. Just so one of those women that just know everything. And every time I talk to her, I'm so enriched when I get a chance to have a conversation with her. So let me bring her in. Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire, how are you today?
I am so well and so happy to see you.
Yes. So congratulations again, because this book, Women Behind the Mic, Curators of Pop Culture, Words to the Wise, it's different volumes. I'm so glad you and your co-author, Michell Joyce, who is another lovely, beautiful soul, came up with this concept and are churning out these volumes. So I want to say kudos, because I definitely am enjoying the volumes and the people, my friends, sharing their stories. So for people who are getting to know about this book, let's start with how you and Michelle created this book.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you and to talk about women behind the mic. It's my favorite thing in the world to discuss, in addition to attaining, maintaining, and reclaiming perfect health, of course. Yeah. So Women Behind the Mic, we are a collective of women, including you, who have worked behind the scenes in the entertainment industry with the biggest names and the icons and the brands, the largest ones of all time. And we have worked quietly in the background for many, many years and have never said a word. So it came to be because Michelle, MJ, she's MJ, LaJoyce, I'm LJ, MJ and LJ, we get together regularly, and we've been making good trouble for more than 30 years. And we first wrote down the concept when we were out at a favorite place called the Tea Salon, having tea in the afternoon on a work day, a steal away moment. And we came up with this concept, but it all came to fruition around the time that all of the documentaries and docuseries were coming out. Yeah. And we watched them in awe, in shock, should I say, that our sisters were nowhere mentioned. Case in point, in the New Edition biopic, 3 days, yes?
Yeah.
Juanita Steffens, Renee Foster, not even mentioned. And Juanita just died last week.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Such a beautiful woman. Everyone's a beautiful woman. Like, we're all like, wasn't this a great time? We grew up in this business.
Listen, it was magical.
It was.
Honestly. And I want to tell you, to pick up on your point about you saying that all being beautiful women, beautiful souls, because you know what? I don't think that you could withstand doing this work if you weren't deep down inside. Yeah. Because you have to have something to stand on, or this industry just tear you up like a rag doll, just toss you around. And so we all collectively, we are definitely mourning currently Juanita's death. It has shaken us very hard. And so when Juanita wasn't mentioned in the biopic, we got terribly upset. And then the Can't Stop, Won't Stop documentary. MJ called me and says, "Did Puffy call you?" And I said, "No." "Did he call you?" She said, "No." And she said, "He didn't call Leote or Gwen or Kelly." And I'm speaking their names intentionally because no one else does.
Yeah.
Okay. Call my sisters' names. And it was just, I said, "I'm tired." And she said, "Me too." So we got together and we called our sisters and asked them to blow the dust off their memories and to come on and write their stories for this book.
I
And
want to.
awesome.
Let me. You can finish. And you could call them up so they could put their stories in this book, which is so amazing.
Yes, yes, and it's been awesome. It's
Yeah.
been widely well received. We've been touring nationwide and internationally, and it's been amazing to hear how people love hearing the stories of what happened behind the scenes, and we were there.
One of my favorites, and I want to give a shout out to your co-creator Michell Joyce, sending her love and blessings during this time. Both of y'all are so dope, but I remember, and you may have been a part of this. Michell Joyce was, I remember her name when Craig Mack and Biggie were both getting promoted. First, one of the first artists out of Bad Boy, and they created the Big Mac and the Big with the cassette inside.
That was all
genius.
That was all her.
Genius.
That was genius. That was her, the Big Mac.
That's one of many. One of many. The sisterhood. I want to talk about, and we're still talking about how this book came together. But I want to talk about and really let people know that more than two Black girls can be together. We love each other.
Oh my gosh!
Like through the years, this is 20 and 30 years of love, a sisterhood. I want to first talk about MJ and LJ, how you all, when you all got together, creating that union for so many years.
Well, it all started when I first got to Arista. I knew Michelle before even coming to Arista. She used to be at New Music Seminar, and I was at Sheridan Broadcasting. And when I got to Arista, there was already a press day that was set up for him at Bad Boy. And I was told, listen, Wendy Washington said, he can be difficult. I've heard. I haven't had a chance to media train him. You're going to have to do that. And then this press day is going to happen. I said, okay. So I got there early. I had arranged with Biggie to meet him there early, and he agreed that we do a little media training. And Michelle steered me to the conference room. To my surprise, Biggie was there first before me. And we sat down to do the media training, and I got on his nerves, will I say. And he said, I'll be right back. So I waited, straightening up things in the room. You know, the press is coming in 2 hours. And finally, I go looking around, and I asked people, did you see Big? No. I asked the receptionist, did Big come this way? She said, oh, yeah, he got on the elevator. I said, on the elevator? How long ago? She said, oh, about half an hour ago. The amount of time I had been waiting, and Big has left the building. I went into Michelle's office and had a full-on meltdown. I was like, the person's coming at 2 hours. What? She said, this is how he rolls. Get used to it. We're not going to have it. Here's some tissue. Dry your eyes. You are not going to cry over this. Listen, you hungry? Come with me. It was further solidified, even though we were already solidified.
Yeah. I know that MJ and LJ could have wrote their own volume of all the stories, because how was that feeling? And I want to talk about some of the other women in the book, but let's talk about you two, the co-creators. That feeling, being a part of magic, and y'all just doing it out of fun.
Listen, we were doing it because it was work. Now, and when we were in it, sometimes it felt like fun. Most of the time it felt like work. Okay, Kelly?
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you, we worked our behinds off.
Yeah.
For everything, for all these things behind me on the wall. Yes, it's not all just Bad Boy stuff, but all the things, you work for that. Because I promise you, they don't give them to you.
No.
Okay, I'm speaking of my gold and platinum packs hanging on my wall. And these are just a few. I don't even have wall space enough to house all of them all around my house. My husband's like, excuse me, this can't go everywhere. Put it in your room.
What was one of your proudest, what was one of your, I think everything, because it was a moment, right? But we all have different artists that it was like behind the scenes, it's like, I can't even tell you, but what project or maybe what time was like most rewarding for you during that era, the bad boy era still?
The bad boy era specifically?
Yeah, specifically.
Um, I would have to say one of the times was when Total was getting their due. And they had gone platinum and no one had expected them to. They were the underdog. Really and truly they were.
Yeah.
And so Puff said, we're going to give them a platinum party. We're going to give them a party. I said, okay, let's do it. And in 48 hours, mind you. So I found this amazing space to give it in. It was called the Spy Club, and it had really red velvet banquettes. And were you there?
I think I was. Yes. Look, I'm smiling because it's like,
yes. And then I got these muscle guys to escort all the ladies who came in the door. Okay, so that was phenomenal, and the joy on their faces. And I have a picture of me hugging them, and I look like proud mama.
Oh,
and they just like, oh, LaJoyce, this was fantastic. It was wonderful, and I'm so happy to see them still on tour.
Yeah.
Because, and Pam had one of my dogs. I had a dog, a Rottweiler Shepherd, who had puppies. I brought one to work. Pam had one from Total. Donnell Jones got one. I was passing around puppies, but because you become like family.
Yeah. Yeah.
You really become like family. And so, because I'm spending 16 hours at photo shoots, I mean, I was spending more time with my artists than I was with my own family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You and you and Michelle were one of the blessed ones because you have balance, because you got a husband.
We got
kids. As a woman in the music industry, how were you able to stay focused on having that balance in life? Because it's many of us who are just career driven.
Yes.
And didn't get that opportunity.
Do you know, we were talking about that the other day, that we were hazarding a guess that the statistic is around 65% of our sisters who never got married and never had children. Yes. And married to the job, married to the career. And actually, when I was working in the industry, my first husband died. And then I had a period of when I was single. And then my childhood sweetheart came back around and we got married while I was still working in the industry. And actually, one of the reasons why I left, of course, bullets flying on my watch, the whole Biggie situation happening, and him being ultimately
You were in LA? You were in LA?
I was in LA, and I was in that truck for every day, except the day it happened. God keeps saving me. Except the day it happened. I left early because I was getting married in about in 30 days.
The title of your book, Women Behind the Mic, Curators of Pop Culture, Word to the Wise. Going through that experience, what's a word to the wise that you would tell ambitious publicist that's in the mix and stuff, going around with her clients now?
You got to know when to leave the party. That's the advice I give. You got to know when to leave the party. In fact, before this volume came out, I had written a lot of my stories, and I called it, You Got to Know When to Leave the Party, Tales of an Entertainment Publicist. That's what it was called. But those stories are going to be folded into the volumes of Women Behind the Mic. And because there's a decorum that you must maintain, come on, Kelly, to stay in the arc of safety while working in this industry. And the freaks come out at night. I don't care what industry you work in. So let that be a cautionary tale to always keeping your head on straight, keeping your head on a swivel, facing an exit, nursing one drink or something that looks like a drink, and walking out the door just as the party is cresting and the jam is being played, that's when you go.
And I think about one of the conversations I have with a lot of women and men who we were the curators in the 90s and the 2000s. If TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook was there then, honey, wow.
I don't even know. I do not even know. And we remember how we were poo-pooing on MySpace?
Yes.
Just like, oh, nobody's messing with them. Okay.
Social media.
Social media. I cannot imagine. But here's the thing. The Publicist stuff today consider posting publicity. I'm looking like y'all better write a press release.
Yeah.
And get it serviced. And I don't even know what that is.
Very different. How did you select, because you have different volumes, when you reached out to your friends, because it is a sisterhood and it's still a sisterhood. That's one thing that I always want to tell people. It's a sisterhood. And it's so important because the men do it. The men are very tight. And it's so important for women and for me, Black women too, that we still keep this sisterhood going. When you reached out to different people, what was the response?
Oh my gosh, they'll say, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Or, girl, I don't know anything about right now. And Janine, who used to work at Billboard, she's our editor. I was like, honey, just get it together. Janine will fix it. I don't care if you said bullet points in here, write your story.
Yes. Yes.
It was very well received. There were only a couple of people who were saying, no, I left that behind me. No, thank you. A couple of people did.
And that's okay.
And it is okay because, listen, I understand the trauma. You hear me? And I've worked on mine. I mean, there's still some things that I'm not touching, like that Who Shot Biggie and Tupac. I can't go near that, right? It's too triggering. So, and I don't actually watch any of those movies that recant that situation because a lot of it is wrong. Let me just say that.
Yes.
And then the other part, I just choose not to relive that. It was enough going through it. It was actually the impetus that helped me to leave. Okay. Because I was analyzing everything anyway, because Gus, my husband now, when we got married, we were saying, okay, let's start a family right away. I wasn't exactly young. And it turned out, and I said, well, since we're not getting pregnant, let me start. Is this too much information?
No. We love this. This is going to help another woman who has that thing, should I have kids and all that different stuff,
Okay. So what had happened was, since I wasn't getting pregnant, I started peeing on the stick to see when I was ovulating.
Yeah.
Honey, I was calling him from Las Vegas, LA, Hawaii, the Bahamas, Boston, saying, guess what? He's like, get your butt back here. He said, I can't believe with all these unwanted pregnancies that it's only a 24-hour window. What the heck? Like, when you coming home?
Right.
A couple of days. Like,
right.
We kept missing the cycle. And I was like, I'm gonna have to leave this job. And then I'm telling you, that all happened. And it was but let me tell you what God did for me. I had written a book called Web of Deception that I had a literary agent, Marie Brown, and she was actively shopping my book. It was a suspense drama, wonderful story, yes? And so she had given it to HarperCollins Publishing, and they said, oh my goodness, we have a project that we need somebody to write who writes this way. And you think that she would be willing to write this story? And she said, I'm sure she would. When Biggie got killed, I didn't go to work for 2 days. Couldn't get out the bed, okay? And then when I got to work, Terry Rossi, the Billboard chart manager, my family godmother, she called me and said, call Human Resources and tell them you've been traumatized and get a counselor. I was like, oh, me and Jesus got to handle this. She said, okay, I'm going to call you back in 15 minutes. That woman called me every 15 minutes until I called the human. She said, I'm going to call Yvonne Long myself and tell her to send a counselor to your office. I finally called that woman and said, okay, I've been traumatized. I need a counselor. They had somebody in my office in an hour. That woman was in my office the worst counselor actually I've ever had in my life, actually telling me how I should feel about Biggie being murdered. And then my assistant knocked on the door and said, Marie Brown, pick up fast. She wouldn't take that you were in a meeting. She would speak to you now. And Miss Marie said, LaJoyce, I got you something. And I'm thinking, web of deception. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. She said, have you heard about soul food? And I said, yes, we're working on the soundtrack. She said, well, I negotiated for you to write the novelization. And I jumped up from that desk and did my shout dance. That woman was looking at me and writing in her notepad because I went from below 0 to 100 in 3 seconds. I shook her hand and pushed her out the door and slammed it.
Yeah.
And I said, God, you keep saving me again, because I was walking down the dark tunnel. I was like, ooh, I'm going to have to, I wasn't taking any phone calls and everybody wanted to talk about Biggie. Oh, it was, and I'll never forget this. Esther Samsaris from the Washington Post, get the Washington Post, she called me at home. And then I was like, Esther, I'm not talking to you. My assistant said, Esther Samsaris is here. I was like, what are you talking about? What line? She said, no, girl, Esther is here.
Right.
I let Esther in. She wanted to talk about it. I didn't talk anything. I sat her down in a corner in my office, handed her the extra phone. I said, you can work from here. I'm working from over there, the sensitive things. I excused myself and talked at my assistant's desk. But I let that woman sit there all day and didn't say nothing to her about nothing. I was like, oh, no, we're not doing this. But since you're my girl, you can sit here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And that's how I handled it. Yeah.
A few things. The bravery that you had, because we're talking about this book, but you're so important because you gave a voice to all these women. You and Michelle gave a voice to all these women and the stories, and made it turn up, the volume turn up, because there was a lot of women behind the scenes. That's why I love the title of this book, who were so influential to careers that are legendary
And
now.
the culture.
And the culture. Yes. The bravery you had to, I don't think we ever leave, but to evolve, to diversify your career. Did you ever have a moment that you questioned yourself or doubted yourself of moving?
After leaving the industry?
Yeah.
No.
Beautiful.
I did not doubt myself, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I knew that working at that pace was not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very dear price to pay for keeping several records in the top 10 weekly. Okay. Yeah. That's the kind of pressure and that level of artistry. And especially during that time, it was Arista's heyday. You're talking about, got Miss Aretha, Deborah Cox, Whitney Houston, Usher, please, Monica. Everyone was gold and platinum. Let me show you. Okay. Everyone was gold and platinum. It was a magnanimous feat to do that. There's someone who's going to be the sacrificial lamb. It was us. We were sacrificial lambs, and I knew it wasn't sustainable. While Biggie's death may have been an impetus for me to walk out the door, a dream was actualized for soul food. So simultaneously, okay, I have one skill and the door is closing on that, but my other skill that I was quietly watering every day before I got to work, I was working on it because I knew one day my dream was to become a New York Times bestselling author. Always. I've been writing in diaries since my husband now gave me my first diary when we were childhood sweethearts when I was 12.
What's words to the wise? What would you tell the younger generation? Because I want to talk about what you all are doing in addition, like the education. What would you tell someone, a woman just starting now, about that in the dream?
I would tell a woman just starting out these days to make sure that you have something that you are quietly working on. You don't have to tell anybody. Just like Sally Hemings had her private garden out back You just quietly go and water it a little bit every day. I water your dream before you go work on someone else's dream. Because when you work on someone else, for someone else, you are watering their dream. Water your own.
Girl, I looked down because I had to write that. Water your dream. That
Water
has no
your
age
dream.
limit on there. And no
No,
age.
it does not. No
Water
age
your
limit.
dream.
Yes.
Because
And here's the biggest thing. Don't say anything. Because you got dream stealers and dream crushers. The crushing is necessary sometimes, but don't let it be. Don't be crushed because you shared something about your dream that people don't want to see it actualized for you.
Yeah.
Because they keep you pigeonholed. So don't share.
Yeah. And when you say that watering your dreams, I think about the list of music executives that we've lost to their own hand because they thought this was it. Music industry or die.
Oh, and die they have, haven't they?
And die they have. And
oh my God.
It's so important to have other stuff because, and when you say you left, you never left. I just feel like you evolved because the relationships in the sisterhood, that stays true.
They stayed. If it was true.
If it was true.
If it was true, there are a lot of relationships that weren't sustainable.
Yeah.
Okay. We did not sustain friendship once I got out of the chair. And that's okay. I have enough to manage. Mm-hmm. Shoot, I'm friends with people from nursery school. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I would love for you to share a few stories that they shared, like Timbisa Mashaka, her contribution to this book.
Timbisa's story is about Lauryn Hill and how she was the one who wrote Lauryn Hill's campaign for the miseducation of Miss Lauryn Hill. Mm. Brilliant piece of work. As we know, Timbisa is brilliant. Yes. Love her. And we needed that story. We needed, especially since Lauryn is now burgeoning again. And she is back on the circuit, back on tour. So timely.
And another woman that we love, sisterhood, evolution, because Timbisa worked in the music industry, evolved, and now she does a voiceover. She's a creative. Right. We all evolved. This was just the root of all these beautiful flowers that have blossomed through the years.
Yes.
Through the years. Another friend I love, Karen Taylor Bass.
Oh, she's not in this in the
No, well, she's in one of them.
No, she's not yet. We just talked about that a few weeks ago, me and her.
Karen was on your podcast. Oh, so you talked to her with your podcast. Yes. Because look, for me, with you, everything is intertwined.
It is intertwined.
Doctor, women behind the mic.
Her book.
Yes.
From Bitter to Better.
Yes.
Got her right here.
Yes.
This book, her novella is fantastic. And that Karen Taylor Bass, and oh my gosh, she said that if we would look up in the dictionary the definition of girls doing it in their 20s, she said, honey, our pictures are there. I said, yeah.
One of my favorites. I think for me, when you do the next volume, I definitely want, because I think about all those stories. Mine would probably be about Paul Mooney. When he did, my first job was with Stepson, and Mr. Paul Mooney did 2 albums, and getting him coverage at the time because people were scared of him, and working with Bill Adler to do it.
Oh my gosh, Bill Adler.
Yeah.
Who is the young lady who works alongside Paul, who travels everywhere with him, the light-skinned lady? I cannot think of her name right now. I can see her face so clearly. She is a doll. I've just wondered how she's been doing since his death.
And I see her face too.
That's all right. We're going
to figure it out. When you look at all these docs of things happening now, What's your thoughts? Even though they have to include, we created our own land and table now, but saying I was there.
Yes. And you mean when we're being omitted?
Yeah.
It's called erasure.
Mm.
And unfortunately, it's a thing
Mm-hmm.
where you are intentionally omitting people from history. And you know what? It's okay, because it is not their responsibility to tell our stories. We must tell our own.
Yeah.
And if that's the way you remember it, or if that's the way you're choosing to tell it, cool. We over here are going to fill in some of those holes.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
have receipts, see, okay? Because you may say so and so, but I guarantee you, you don't know who got called to put you on the cover of Vibe magazine. I guarantee you, you don't know who got called to put you on a double page spread in Details magazine. I bet you don't know. Matter of fact, I know you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't say it's you.
Yeah.
Because as we know in the industry, there are too many people. For every one person who's in front, they're 50 behind.
Yeah.
And everyone must do their part. It's a beautiful, well-oiled machine, and it takes about 8-10 hours to find out who's not doing the work. Right?
That's it. Absolutely. I tell people that I can tell exactly who's doing work and who's gaming real quick.
Yes. All the posers, they don't last.
Yeah.
You post your way in, you'll get bounced right out.
Yeah.
Yes.
With your book, Women Behind the Mic, Curators of Pop Culture, it's not only a book, but you all have layers of this. Let's talk about, we have the book, the podcast. It's a class. You all are teaching.
We are teaching, and we have a curriculum that we have written. We've got several. There is one called Ready on Set. There's another called the Mic Check series. And the one that we're currently teaching this semester is Backstage Pass, Exploring Entertainment Careers. And that one is 8 weeks. And each week, one of our sisters teaches their specialty.
I love that. Was that the plan when you all started the concept of this book?
You know what? It evolved, and it was just the next natural progression. Because when we launched in 2023 with Volume 1, we launched at the Apollo Theater and sold out to 1,200 students from the Department of Education.
Wow.
In one day,
yeah.
We had permitted all of the seats. And so we knew that if we're going to have their attention, what do we do to follow this up? So a curriculum was the next natural progression.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was excellent, an excellent thing to do. So now that's really moving on by itself. We've become vendors with the Department of Education, and we're making our rounds through some of the schools. Yes.
And I'm correct to say it's global. This is a global conversation.
Yes, it is, because we've been to London twice. We're going back a third time this October for their Black History Month. And we have also been to Scotland.
Nice.
And we'll be going to Dubai. And it is absolutely global. And they're the global people really brought to our attention that some of the things that we were talking about regarding women working in this industry, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Come on, it all comes out when we speak.
Yeah.
And when women get to asking us questions, we get down to it, and we don't sugarcoat anything. And one of the things that has come about is that women have said, you all are nuts if you think that this kind of stuff only happens in the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. It happens here. It happens in every industry. Mm-hmm. So we are evolving into Women with a Mic as well, which Amazing. Is the not-for-profit arm. And it'll be women from all careers to stand in their truth and share their stories. Yes.
Wow. I love evolution. This book is definitely a must read. It's like a reference book, actually, for me. just going back and reading different people's stories. I know that you love all the women in here, but was there any stories of women who contributed that really kind of connected, opened your eye to something else, another chapter that you never thought to think about?
Another chapter that I thought to think about for myself, or a chapter to think about that I didn't think anything like that for them?
Yes. Something that surprised you from one of your contributors.
That's almost every one of them surprised me with something. And honestly, like for instance, Jackie Reinhardt, my Jackie
Reinhardt, yes.
Let me tell you something about that Jackie Reinhardt. We did the International Black Theater Festival in Winston-Salem this summer past, and we spoke twice there, had 2 panels, standing room only, and Gwendolyn Quinn, Lynn Scott, me, and Alita Carter. So we're on the panel, and all of us had a story to tell about Jackie getting us a job.
Wow.
We all looked at each other like, Jackie got you that job, Jackie got you that job. And Jackie was supposed to be there, and the only reason why she wasn't, she caught COVID. Because I said, everybody take a COVID test before you come, because we all staying in a house together, at a nice Airbnb. And she said, well, LaJoyce had it right. I'll be daggone if I don't have COVID. She said, because she's growing watermelons. Anyway, so Jackie Reinhardt, she has a working farm.
Wow.
In Carolina. But her story, she was talking about how every Saturday morning, her family cleaned up, and her favorite album to put on was Sergio Mendes. And I threw that manuscript down. I picked it. I said, "Girl, oh my God!" And we were singing together. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Brasilia 77. I couldn't believe anybody else. No, I wore the grooves off that album, and I was, oh my God. She said, "Girl, that was my jam." I said, "That's why I love Sergio Mendes." And so we had a good hoo-hoo over that. But those kind of little things, just everyone saying how music was just a staple in their homes and what kind of music they played. And it was absolutely, you had to clean up on Saturday, you cleaned up to music, and then you had to sit down, you sat down and watch Soul Train. Right. It was just the common denominator with everyone was almost identical.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love that. I smile because I love to hear all these names of these legendary women. And it's so important to keep their legacy alive, because a lot of them, they gave us like our blueprint to work and do all that. For me, I say her name, Leslie Pitts.
Oh my gosh. We used to joke, call her Black Leslie. That's what we like, Black Leslie and Black Patty. And Patty
Webster. Yeah.
I worked for Patty. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Just, you're right, the legends. But just the rich history. And you have Patty's book. Patty have the book called It Happened in the Church.
Yes. Amazing.
And so when you talk about evolving and what cemented their legacy is just the work that they did and how the artists are just going on and on.
Yeah. Yes. I love this. I love this. I'm looking forward to more volumes of this book.
Oh, yes.
I'm looking forward to educating the babies, the kids, because the adults are still the babies, because it was a good time. Yes. And we didn't even really realize how good of a time it was, because we created the blueprint.
Yep. And you know what else? We didn't realize that it was as magnanimous as it is. Yeah. We didn't realize, Kelly, that what we were doing was curating pop culture as it is known today. Yeah. We had no idea. We just were putting our head down and doing the work.
We wanted to win. When I say roll with the winners, everyone wanted to win. I also want to talk, now that I have time with you, I want to talk about what you're doing now as well. You're an author. but you're a
Yes.
radio host and you're
Yes.
helping and healing people.
Yes.
Please tell the listeners about your show and all the good work you're doing.
Well, I am Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire nowadays as
Yes.
well, and I'm a naturopathic doctor. And I teach, I'm an on the air professor to teach about health and wellness and all things about maintaining a wellness journey. And I've been doing this show now, it's been more than 10 years because I had a segment I started with live on the air with Karen Hunter when she first started on Sirius XM. I was on with her for 2 years every Wednesday. And then she said, "Do you want your own show?" I said, "I do. I want my own show." And then she gave me a show. Then I was on Sirius for 4 years. And then during the pandemic, I came off of Sirius and ended up for a very brief stint on a television platform. And then I transitioned immediately after that, didn't really work out, to YouTube, where I was. And then after 3 years on YouTube and them calling my content harmful as to the reason why they wouldn't monetize me, I said, "I see you." So now I'm with a podcast networks that welcomes Black and Brown voices. And it's called Me No Lion, and it's a wonderful space. And I am everywhere podcasts can be heard, but I am guaranteed to bring you up to the minute, up to date, current information, dispelling misinformation about all things health and wellness. And this week, actually, my show is on your questions asked and answered. And I do that, Kelly, every quarter because people ask so many questions. So I throw them all in the pile and then I do as many as time permits. And this week we are covering everything from constipation to crusty belly buttons.
Oh, that's a thing too.
Okay. It's a thing.
That's a
It's a
thing.
thing. And the question came forth, so I had to get at it.
Yes. And
Yes.
people can hear and watch your show where?
They can hear the show anywhere they listen to their podcasts on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music.
Okay.
There's so many. And
Okay.
then, yes. And so I do a little promo for YouTube just to keep it alive.
Yeah.
But it's just a promo to reference to the podcast. Yes.
And the show and people, if they wanted to go right now, the name of your show?
Ask the Good Doctor.
Yes. Ask the Good Doctor. Yes.
Ask the Good Doctor. And I'm launching in 2 months a 21-day detoxification program. Yes,
when?
Because
so I can
in
join.
2 months.
Okay.
In 2 months. And It's called Trinity. It's a box set. And it is phenomenal. I've teamed up with a company called Edmark in Malaysia. Just came back from Malaysia. Fantastic, beautiful people. And I am now their business partner. So they're so excited about it that they're fast tracking it. And it will be launched at their international convention in Dubai at the end of April. And I'll be there.
Exciting. You're not slowing down, Doctor.
No, there's no time for that.
Yes.
No. And you keep getting new ideas and it's about expanding your personal growth and development. I'm all about that. I'm in an intense class these days and people say, "Well, why are you doing it?" And a girlfriend of mine said, "I admire you because you just get done." Yeah. And I said, "But you know what? It's the same." And so it's just rinse and repeat. I'm making my own self bored. It's time to go to a next level. And I'm understanding that you have to do that with collaboration. Yeah. So the One Woman Show took a bow.
Yes, absolutely.
December 31st. And now I am collaborating. I'm seeking collaboration and it's been beautiful.
Community is so important.
Community is. And you know who's in your backyard right there in Las Vegas? Vita Dyson Nash. Have you connected with her?
Yes, she is. I've seen her, have not connected, but we have been in the same place at a birthday party with Kathy Carroll. Not
Kathy,
too long ago. Kathy's
my Chicago girl.
Yes,
I know.
Kathy's
I saw her when I was there.
Yes.
When we did our book tour last year, we did the Las Vegas Book Fair.
Oh, nice, nice. Yes.
Yes, we do
And
that.
Sandra Smith is here too. She's a promo
So
person
interesting.
too.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
I haven't
yes,
heard her
yes.
name in years. It's interesting.
Sisterhood. Sisterhood.
Well, Vita has written a new book, so you've got to have her on.
Okay, I will. I want to thank you so much. You're so motivating and inspiring. Thank
Oh,
you
thank
for this
you.
book, Woman Behind the Mic, Curators of Pop Culture. We're just getting started with these volumes. Word
Yes,
to
we
the
are.
wise.
Yes.
We're
And
going to
then the hip hop
support you.
edition.
Yes, the hip hop edition. Ask the Good Doctor. And you know, my last question to you, ask the good doctor, what is something that you could give us for we're about to transition to from this winter to spring to keep our health intact because you are a naturopath?
Oh, yes. I would say my detoxification program is going to be ready post the change of season, but change of season requires some spring cleaning, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. And we should actually do that cleanse at the change of every season because that helps to allay seasonal allergies. And it's not really what you think that causes them. You can have me back. We can have a full length conversation about that. But the one thing, do yourselves a favor, eat lighter, exercise more, drink your water, and bathe every day, every night before you go to bed and get it all off. Everything is changing, sloughing. And also, too, clean your home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. In
Thank
Chicago,
you.
when we were raised, it was cleanup week. They called spring vacation cleanup week. Literally, that was
Yes.
what they called it. Yes.
Yes, yes. Well, it's the Hybrid Soul with Kelly Kincaid, your destination for music and culture discovery. Thank you, Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire, for letting us
Thank
discover
you.
you. We love you and we support you.